All right, let's talk about something that affects every single one of us: motivation. We're diving into the big, game changing ideas from Daniel Pink's book, Drive. And trust me, this one flips just about everything we thought we knew on its head. I mean, think about it. What's the best way to get people to really perform? It's a question that pops up everywhere, right? In the office, in the classroom, even when you're just trying to motivate yourself. How do we get people to do their absolute best work? And the answer seems so obvious, doesn't it? Just pay them more. For ages, the go-to strategy has been super simple. If you want more of a certain behavior, you offer a reward, a bonus, a raise, whatever. It's that classic carrot and stick idea we've all been taught. It's basically business 101. Okay, but what if that obvious answer is just wrong? Not just a little bit wrong, but completely fundamentally wrong, especially for the kind of work that most of us are doing today. That's the real bombshell here. So, to really get what I'm talking about, we need to look at this super interesting experiment that goes all the way back to 1945. It's called the candle problem, and believe me, it pretty much reveals everything about this disconnect. Okay, so imagine this puzzle. I hand you a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and a book of matches. Your job is to attach that candle to a corkboard wall in a way that the wax won't drip down onto the table below. Now, most people immediately try to tack the candle right to the wall, or maybe they'll try to melt some wax and use it like glue, and, well, neither of those really works. And the reason this is so tricky is because of this little quirk in our brains called functional fixedness. It's a cognitive bias. Basically, we look at the box of tacks and our brain just screams, "That's a container for tacks." It's really hard for us to see it as anything else, like, for example, a shelf. But that's the solution. You dump out the tacks, tack the box to the wall, and then place the candle right inside it. Simple, but not obvious. Now hold on, because this is where things get really interesting. A researcher later recreated this experiment, but he added a twist. He split people into two groups. Group A was just timed to see how long it took them. But Group B, they were offered a cash reward. He told them he'd give $5 to the fastest 25% and a whole $20 to the absolute fastest person. Pretty good incentive, right? So what happened? Well, the group that was offered the cash prize took, on average, 3.5 minutes longer to solve the puzzle. Get that? The incentive, the reward, the carrot, it actually made them worse. It dulled their thinking and completely blocked their creativity. This one single finding blows a giant hole in decades of conventional business thinking. So that candle problem, it perfectly illustrates this massive gap between what science knows and what businesses actually do. It's like our entire approach to motivation is running on an old, outdated operating system. And Daniel Pink has a great name for it: Motivation 2.0. Think of it like an old piece of software. It's built entirely around these external carrot and stick motivators. The core assumption is that people are kind of lazy, and the only way to get them to do anything is to either dangle a reward in front of them or threaten them with a punishment. Now, to be fair, this system isn't always bad. For what you'd call algorithmic tasks, simple routine stuff where you just follow a set of instructions, it works okay. But for heuristic tasks, things like the candle problem that require creativity and fresh thinking, Motivation 2.0 is a disaster. It doesn't just fail, it actively makes things worse. And that's a huge problem, because most work today is creative and heuristic. When you rely on those external rewards for this kind of work, you run into serious downsides. It can totally crush creativity. It can encourage people to take unethical shortcuts to get the reward. And maybe worst of all, it can kill intrinsic motivation. That natural joy you get just from doing something interesting. Okay, so if the old system is broken, what's the fix? Well, the science points to a whole new framework, one that's built around our intrinsic drivers, the stuff that motivates us from the inside out. And this is the upgrade. Pink calls it Motivation 3.0. It's the new operating system designed specifically for the 21st century. And it's powered not by carrots and sticks, but by these deep, innate human needs we all have. This new system runs on 3 core elements. It's really simple. First, there's autonomy. That's our desire to direct our own lives. Second is mastery, the urge to get better and better at something that matters. And third is purpose, our need to do what we do for a reason that's bigger than just ourselves. So that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's break down each of these pillars, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, and see how they actually work.
First up, autonomy. Now, this doesn't mean total chaos. It just means having some choice. And you can break it down into 4 key areas, the 4 T's, giving people freedom over their task, their time, their technique, and their team. When you give people real control over these things, engagement just explodes.
Okay, next up is mastery. And this isn't about being perfect or being the best in the world. It's about that incredible feeling of making progress at something that you actually care about. I love this quote. Mastery is an asymptote. You can approach it. You can get really, really, really close to it, but you can never touch it. It's the pursuit, the journey itself that's so motivating. And this model here shows exactly how all these pieces fit together. Your work, your responsibilities, that's the space where you get to use your autonomy. It's the field where you pursue mastery, and it's how your work connects to that bigger purpose. When you get all 3 of those things aligned, well, that's the sweet spot. That's where true motivation lives. But you have to be careful here, because using those old external rewards can actually be dangerous. Pink calls this the Sawyer effect. There was this famous study with a group of preschoolers who just loved to draw. Then, the researchers started offering them a shiny ribbon for their drawings. And guess what happened? Suddenly, they didn't want to draw anymore unless they got a ribbon. The reward literally turned their play into work and killed their natural love for it. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that we need a complete mindset shift. We have to move away from just trying to get compliance, getting people to do what they're told, and start focusing on fostering real, genuine engagement. And this slide really spells it out. Motivation 2.0, the old way, basically assumes people need to be managed and controlled. The goal is compliance. But Motivation 3.0, the new way, starts with a totally different assumption, that people are naturally curious and self-directed. And if you give them the right environment, one with autonomy, mastery, and purpose, they don't need to be managed. They will engage and excel all on their own. When you boil it all down, the science is crystal clear. The real secret to high performance isn't about perfecting a system of rewards and punishments. It's about tapping into that powerful third drive that we all have, that deep-seated desire to direct our own lives, to get better at what we do, and to feel like we're making a contribution. And that really leaves us with a big question to think about for ourselves. When you look at your own life, your job, your hobbies, anything, what are the things that truly motivate you? Where do you find that sense of autonomy, that chance for mastery, that connection to a purpose? Because that's where your real drive is hiding.